Hello everyone. Welcome you all to the session of Banking and Financial Service class. I am Impa Piriappa, Associate Professor, Department of MBA, Maharaja Institute of Technology, MICR. Previously, we have discussed certain concepts of Unit 2, that is debit card, credit card and smart card. In today's class, we will be moving ahead with electronic payment system, MICR and check truncation system. These are the three topics which we will be discussing today. Let's begin with the electronic payment system. The electronic payment system, we also call it as e-payment system, in a way which makes the transactions of or paying for goods and services through the electronic medium without use of any check or cash. Normally we have discussed the digital money, that is without any cash transactions. We are using cards instead of cash. In the same way, to enable this, the transaction which we are doing to buy the goods or avail services or to sell with the help of the electronic payment system, means we are paying using electronic gadgets. Okay, that is called electronic payment. It is also called as online payment system. As of now, we know the growing use of the internet, and due to this growing use of internet, there is, if you want to shop, do shopping or buy something, you use this electronic payment ways in order to make the payment. There are certain features for this electronic payment. These features can be divided into socio-economic infrastructure, security infrastructure, legal infrastructure and technical infrastructure. To begin with, let's start with the socio-economic infrastructure. So once you start transaction with this electronic payment system, the reliability increases, the trust increases, the cost decreases, the speed increases and the usefulness also increases. So rather than carrying cash, instead if you are going somewhere and you want to do shopping, okay, suddenly you don't have cash, neither the ATM is nearby, then you can use this electronic payment system in order to which helps you to do the transactions easily without carrying any kind of cash. Okay, then that is the usefulness. Speed. As soon as you swipe your card or you make an online transaction, immediately the funds are transferred from one account to another account. That is the speed. And the cost, again this differs. You can reduce the cost as well as it increases the cost, because the cost of doing the transaction increases. That's cost. Trust issues are there because there is no proper 100% security, but you can trust the server or website and then you can make the transactions. You can rely on this online payment rather than relying on hard cash. Actually, hard cash is quite better, but in terms of emergencies, you can rely on this. Then coming to the second one, that is security infrastructure. Security infrastructure, like the security reasons, there is no 100% security, but depending on the server or website, you can check it, you can make the transactions. Then anonymity. Anonymity means where your identity is protected. Okay, your identity, this is related to your identity protection. 100% protection of the individual's data is not there, but you can rely on the data and make the transactions. That is anonymity, means personal information which is, or identity information which is to be kept safe. Okay, then comes privacy. Yes, the hackers who are there, I have many times told you, they are very smart, so they might hack your privacy. So you need to have the privacy settings. Okay, then confidentiality. So you can maintain the confidentiality. There is no problem in that. You can maintain the confidentiality. And next is traceability. Traceability or linkability is a kind of difficulty. It's difficult to trace. When you spend with cash, it is wherever you're spending, you have to write down somewhere as to what you're spending for, how much you're spending for. But whenever you're swiping your card or doing any online transactions, you give the review there itself. So that is a kind of, you can trace it. Okay, that is having traceability. Then authenticity, yes, authenticity is there. Double spending is avoided, okay, because you can have a track on that. These are some of the security infrastructure. Then you have the legal infrastructure. Legal infrastructure is acceptability, one of the feature. So acceptability is where throughout the world these electronic payment system can be accessed anywhere. So you can access it, that is, it is having acceptability and everywhere it is acceptable. Okay. Then next is authorization. Authorization is where everywhere when you swipe a card, the authorization pin is asked for. So when you insert your pin, so automatically it can be transacted easily. So authorization. The next is technical infrastructure. So in technical infrastructure, scalability. So scalability in the sense where how much ever the transaction expands, the server capabilities should also increase. Means it is the expansion of your server depending on the capacities which is required depending on the demand. Okay, that is scalability. Means you are expanding however the transaction expands. Okay, then you have flexibility where whenever, wherever, however you want to, you can transact it, and how much ever money it is, even in prices you can transact. Then convertibility, easily it is converted, that is immediately once you do the transaction from one account to another account, it is easily convertible. So it is easy to convert. And multi-currency. When you transact from account to account, it is multi-currency. Any currency you can transact with, and the withdrawal what you do, it is according to the country's currency. And it is applicable to many businesses and services which are available. So applicability is also there. And standardization. Standardization means the rules and regulations for everyone pertaining to this electronic payment system is same. Okay, the options given, the system design, everything is it is common. So there is a standardized procedure which need to be just repeated. That's it. Okay, these are some of the features of electronic payment system or online payment system. However you want, you can call that. How does this work? Okay, so there will be, what are the parties who are involved in electronic payment system? The parties involved in electronic payment system is the card holder. Card holder is a person who is a consumer or a purchaser. Okay, he is the card holder. Then next is a merchant. Merchant is a person from whom we are buying the goods or who is selling the goods to us. Okay, who is the seller of service or goods. Okay, we call him merchant. So there is a card holder and there is a merchant. Then the issuer. The issuer is a financial institution that provides card to the that provides the payment card normally to the card holder. If I am the card holder and you are the merchant, I will contact the bank who will issue the payment card, that is any card for that matter. Types of card we'll learn later. Okay, so any payment card for that matter who issues the card to me, a bank or any financial institution who issues the card to me, they are called as the issuer. Okay, then comes the acquirer. Acquirer or merchant account provider. So if you are the merchant, as I have given the example, you will have an bank provider who will provide you, it's also a financial institution where we have, that is the merchant has to establish an account with the merchant. The bank has to establish, that is mutually they have to establish an account, and the acquirer acquires the legitimacy of the card holder account. Means they can take the information of the card holder. Okay, that is a financial institution. That financial institution who is attached with the merchant, we call him acquirer. Okay, then comes the payment processor. Payment processor handles the official transactions between the card holder and the merchant. Okay, so there is the payment processor who handles the it's like a bridge between the card holder and the merchant. The intermediate between these two parties, we call them as the payment processor. Okay, and the last one is payment gateway. Okay, payment gateway is where it's a process where merchant payment messages and uses security protocols and encryptors to ensure transaction safety. Okay, where the merchant ensures transaction safety. So here you can see, so there will be a buyer and there will be issuing bank for the buyer, and there will be an intermediary which will call payment processor. I'll write the short forms. And we have the seller or merchant, and for them the bank we call it as acquiring bank or acquirer. Okay, this is the process of electronic payment system, where there will be a buyer, where there will be a merchant. That buyer's bank we call it as issuer, and merchant bankers we call acquirer, and the bridge between the buyer and the seller is through the payment processor. Okay, and the merchant banker assures the payment safety. So any e-payment transactions are divided. The types of e-payment transactions are one time and recurring customer vendor. So one time in the sense you make the payment once and your transaction is done, you are going to not repeat the transactions again. Okay, but recurring customer vendor means where the customers are continuously recurring from recurring for various payments. So it might be electricity bill which comes every month, or water bill, or your DTH connection, anything like this, then automatically the payment is recurring. So suppose if you want to buy a fridge or a television, that becomes one time customer. Once you use it, you buy it, and for years you don't have any transactions. But recurring customer vendor is where you have availed services like this, then we call it as recurring customer vendor. So when it comes to the recurring customer vendor, they have a separate database where the database is saved for your further use. Okay. Then next is the methods of electronic payment system. In the methods of electronic payment system, there are two different methods of electronic payment system. The first one is credit payment system. So credit payment system means based on the credit you make the payments. Under that there are subdivisions. Under credit payment system, the first one is credit card. So credit card we have detailedly discussed in our previous class, where credit card is a form of e-payment system that requires the use of card issued by the financial institutions of that particular customer or buyer, and the card holder makes the payments online or through any electronic device without the use of cash. And even in this account, it doesn't have any cash. It is like a loan which you take from the bank and later on you pay it back to the financial institution. It is like that. Okay. So credit card is a form where you buy the goods and make the payment online or through any electronic medium. No cash transactions at all. Next comes the e-wallet. The second one under credit payment system is e-wallet. So e-wallet means it is a particular prepaid account, means you already have money in that payment account like Paytm and all. Prepaid, you make the prepaid account, you keep in that, and that has stores user data. All the financial data of the user is stored in that. And like debit card or credit card, the information is can be transaction, or the money can be transaction from one to another, that is through electronic medium. Okay, the amount will be transferred from one account to another account without any cash transaction. Okay, so where e-wallet means the money should already be there in the wallet. Okay, next is smart cards. So smart cards also in my previous class we have discussed in detail. So it is a plastic card with the microprocessor that can be loaded with funds to make any kind of transactions, which is also known as chip card. Okay, so this is what these two, that is credit card and chip card, we have already discussed in my previous video. Okay, the next second one, that is first one was credit payment system. The second one is cash payment system. So through cash it has been done. Under cash payment system, the first one is direct debit. Okay, what do you mean by direct debit? A financial transactions where the account holder instructs the account to collect a specific amount of money from his account electronically. Okay, to the paid goods and services. So here, what happens is, whenever we transact financially, the account holder instructs, that is, so much money has to be paid to someone or so much money has to be collected from another person. that will be done electronically by the bank itself. It will be directly debited from the account. Okay, that is one option. Another one is ECheck. Okay, ECheck is like your gift card. Okay, it is similar to that, where a digital version of old paper check, like your normal check is there, no? It's a digital version of it. It's an electronic transfer of money from a bank account, usually the checking account. Okay, normally that account, without use of any paper check. Like normally you send that check which we sign and put the date, and it will have 3 months validity. The same feature is available, but there is no paper check. Instead of paper check, you send an electronic transfer of money, okay, from a bank account. That is ECheck. Then you have ECash. Okay, ECash is a form of electronic system where certain amount of money is stored in the client's device and made access for online transactions. So you have an electronic payment system where certain on the client's device the money is being stored, and whenever you want it, you just access it through online transaction. That is eCash. The another one is stored value card. Means in the card the value will be stored. A card with a certain amount of money is stored, which can be used to perform any kind of transactions in the issue store. Okay, it is like your gift card. Just now I told you about gift check, no, for ECheck. In the same way, like gift card, you have your e-card where the stored value is already there. You give it to someone or you go to a store, then you swipe it, the stored value will reduce. So these are the two types of methods which we normally use in electronic payment system. Okay, then comes the advantages of using the electronic payment system. So what are the advantages of using this electronic payment system? Whenever you use this electronic, that is automatic electronic devices, so automatically the time consuming will be less. Okay, and it's quite convenient and it attracts more number of customers. So rather than we could say there is no change, okay, next time I will buy, you don't have such options. Immediately you can transfer the amount, so client base is widen up, okay, and the efficiency increases, and it will be more effectively when you do with the cash transactions rather than doing with the cash transactions. It will be more effective and efficient and convenient. Anytime, anywhere, if you just had a card or the information in your mind, you can sit at one place and do the transaction. And the transaction cost is also not that high that the burden falls on the client. The transaction cost is also low. Then the expenses control for customers. For the customers, the control of expenses also reduced. So we normally know for what we are spending, and we have the backup data also. So spending what it is there, it is controlled. And it is easy to add payments to the website. So some options are there where you can store your cards for future transactions, like shopping websites like Amazon, Flipkart and all. They have this storing of cards. If you want, you can store your card there, so that next time when you do a payment getaway, it is easy for you to do the transactions. You need not remember the card number, expiry date and all. It will already be stored. If you remember the PIN or CVV, that is more than enough. Okay. Then security, it is a kind of anti-fraud. Now advantages and disadvantages, however you want, you can write, but security lies in both the ways. Okay, so there are lots of tools available which we use in order to reduce the fraud, but ifs and buts are always there. Okay, so coming to the disadvantages, these are certain advantages, and coming to the disadvantages, as I said, continuing with the advantages, continuing with that, there are lots of fraud which is happening with this electronic system, which can be easily hacked. If you carry cash, there are thieves or robbers who snatch your cash. If you have this electronic payment system, there are hackers who get into this fraudulent practices. More than it is like they have. If we have to speak about the statistic, that is, the frauds are growing 30% every year. So where will it stand in the future? That's a kind of question mark. It's not of that secure. risk to sensitive data, which may be like identity theft and all. Okay. The next is lack of anonymity. As I've already told, it's very difficult to keep the information, personal identity safe. Okay. So, but you need not remember some of the personal data which is stored in the database or of the payment system. Then it is difficult for you. You need to keep remember all your pins and passwords and user IDs, or else you keep on changing it. That's a kind of tension. Okay. Then the need for internet access. Whenever you do such kind of transactions, internet access is quite necessary to make the process smooth. Okay. That is related to electronic payment system, where we have spoke about its types, methods, advantages, disadvantages, and how it works. Let's move on to the second one, which is MICR. Most probably you have heard about it, but let's discuss it. Okay, MICR means the expansion of MICR is magnetic ink character recognition. So each one has its own meaning to it. Magnetic ink character recognition is it's a character recognition. By the name itself, you can know it's a character recognition system which uses a special ink and characters. Whenever a document's authenticity need to be checked that contains, then that documents are printed with MICR, which is where the ink needs to be read when it passes through a machine, which magnetizes the ink and then translates the magnetic information into characters. Okay, so hopefully you have understood. So whatever the expansion is there, there is magnetic in it, there is ink, special ink which is being used, and there is that converts the magnetic information into character, and that is used for recognition. Okay, that is MICR. This technology is normally used by banks, and you can find it below the check. Okay, it will have certain details like check number, account number. These all will be printed at the bottom. Okay, and to print this magnetic ink, you need a laser printer that accepts MICR toner. Okay, if you need to print this MICR code, it's not that easy. You need to have a laser printer that accepts MICR toner, that is that special ink toner, in order to print the MICR. And what all information it contains, how it is, let's see. And in this MICR, that is magnetic ink character recognition, there is watermark, okay, micro print. The micro print is micro. Then magnetic ink, okay, for converting its magnetic into character. Then erasable inks, it can be erasable. Then you have invisible UV fluorescent, in order to, when you tilt it, you can see that. Then you have chemical sensitivity. These are some of the standards set for the security purpose of this MICR. Some of the security standards are watermark, micro print, magnetic ink, erasable ink, invisible UV fluorescent, and chemical sensitivity. These are such standards which have to be maintained in order in an MICR. And where will be this MICR? Hope so you will have seen a check. Okay, in the check, the bottom part you have these MICR, and the area is also restricted. They have a specific area at the bottom, that is 0.625 inches. If the check is, depending on the check, okay, the 0.625 inches is pertaining to the MICR portion. Okay, or else if you want to convert it into centimeters, that is 1.59 centimeters, around, yeah, so much that contains your MICR information. And what does this information have? There are total 31 numbers, depending again upon the banks, but first it has check serial number, which is around 7 numbers. Then you have routing number. Routing number is 9 numbers, that is the way which shows. And in routing number, amongst these 9 numbers, 3 for bank code, district code is 2, branch code is 3 and the check digit is 1 number. Like this, there are total 9 numbers. 3 for bank code, 3 for branch code, 2 for district code and 1 for check digit. Okay, whichever digit is a check digit. And amount is 13 numbers, like account number, normally it is 13 numbers. So account is 13 numbers and transaction code is 2. So total when you add up, so there are 31 numbers which has to be mentioned in the MICR area. Okay, and in MICR we use 2 types of fonts in order to do the MICR, and these 2 types of fonts are, first one is the E13B. I'll write here, there are 2 types of fonts. I'll just erase this, I don't think so we can complete it today. So one is E13B font, another one is CMC7. So there are 2 fonts available for this MICR. The first one, that is E13B font, it's a 14 character recognition. It has 14 characters in it, and the control character bracketing, like the number block, are from left to right. If we have seen, we say transit, ounce, amount and dash. Okay, this is how we say. This is a 10 decimal digit and symbols. Okay, it has total 14 in this. It has total 14 characteristics, and out of that 10 decimal digits and the remaining are symbols. For example, if it is like this, then this signifies bank code. This signifies bank code. If we have to say a colon like this and a dot like this, then that signifies customer account number. So it is customer account number. Okay, I am writing it in short forms. Then if it is a dot and one line like this and a dot like this, then it means the amount used to delimit in the transaction. That is nothing but the transaction amount. To make it simple, it's a transaction amount. Or if we have like this, if we have like this is a transaction amount we'll put. Okay, if we have like this, then that we call it as dash, which is used to the routing numbers. That is, we have our, I said, branch code and your district code. These are called routing numbers. Okay, this signifies routing numbers. So you have different symbols in MICR for different categories, which are simply signified like this. That is the reason we call this as we call it as transit. Amount is there, that's account number is there, that is the that's why we call ounce. Then transaction amount is there, that's the reason we call it as amount, and last one we call it as dash, which is the routing numbers. Okay, this is the first way, that is E13B. Normally this only we use. The next one is CMC7, where it has 15 characters composition. The same type, but we name it in a different way, as it comprises of 10 numerical digits and 5 control characters, and these 5 controller characters are internal, terminator, amount, routing and an unused character. Okay, CMC7 is in the barcode format. You have seen the barcodes in almost even in grocery stores. You can see, your cloth shop, everywhere where you go to a sophisticated shop and shop where electronic payment systems are accepted and electronic billing is accepted, there you find the barcode. Okay, so it's in the barcode format, where every character is having 2 distinct large gaps to differentiate from one different place, gaps in different places, so that to have a distinct pattern, to have a different pattern in between, and to minimize any chances of character confusion, means recognition confusion. While reading, it should be easy. They should not have any kind of recognition difficulties. For that purpose, they leave these gaps between the characters. Okay, these are the two forms. And coming to the advantages of MICR and disadvantages of MICR, whenever there are advantages and disadvantages, if you have to say advantages, then accuracy is high. It is already coded, so your branch, you need not write everything. One stitch, everything is processed and you get all the information. So higher degree of accuracy will be there. And security will also be there, because regular people, if you don't have the knowledge of what is what in this, then it is safe. Okay, and that has magnetic ink and a special machine is required. So obviously the safety purpose, it is there, it is secure. And then it is fast. Okay, it's electronic, it is easily scanned and all the data comes in, so it is fast and errors free. Errors can be reduced to a maximum extent rather than the manual errors. Some people, if you do this as manually, due to the handwriting or due to various issues or vulnerable to fluids, all these issues, that kind of accuracy will not be there and error chances are there. But due to this MICR, the chances of error reduces, and also contains a particular information used for printing characters. So particular ink, particular machine, so such kind of particularity is there, a special ink is needed. So that kind of fact, if you see, so rather than somebody writing on something, it's better it has been printed. Okay, and everyone can read it in the same way. There is no bias in that. So document cannot be forged easily. Okay, it cannot be duplicated that easily because of those all requirements. And processing and of information and scanning of information is also easy. These are some of the benefits of MICR. So as you regularly say, convenient, easy, fast, accurate, error free, special requirements are needed, processing is easy, scanning is easy, and copying is difficult. Okay, so these are some of the advantages. And lastly, let's discuss certain disadvantages of MICR. Disadvantages of MICR are like it can recognize only 10 digits and 4 special characters or 5 special characters. Apart from that, you want to add anything, you cannot do anything. And normally it is not suitable for alphanumerical. If it's a combination of alpha and numerical, it's a kind of difficulty. You can recognize only special characters and numerics. So if you cannot have a combination of alpha and numeric, that is alphabets and numbers, you cannot have that. And only certain characters which is already specific, that can be read in a particular combination. You cannot read all the special characters. And as I said, special ink is needed, special machine is needed to order to convert the magnetism into the character, quite costly. Okay, it's a kind of expensive method of data entry. Okay, so these are certain disadvantages of MICR. So only this we could complete, and check truncation system, which I have already told, that will do it in the next class. Okay, so you have 3 methods, 2 methods as of now we have discussed. The first method we discussed was electronic payment system. So electronic payment system, we can say e-payment system or online payment system, where you can deal with a lot of transactions without having cash. You can do it electronically. Okay, and for this there are you need a card holder, as I said, and they have an issue banker, and you have a merchant, and for him you have an acquiring bank, and between them it is payment processing. Okay, and there is payment gateway, where the merchant transfers the information to the acquirer, so legitimating that the information is safe. Okay, and then you have 2 types of transactions, one-time transaction and recurring transaction. Then also we learned that there are 2 types of payment methods. That is, first one is credit payment method and cash payment method. Credit payment method is like wallet, credit card and smart card, whereas the cash payment method, you have direct debit, ECheck, eCash and stored value cards that we discussed. And we also discussed certain advantages and disadvantages, which gives you like advantages is fast, easy, comfortable, convenient, flexible, accurate, all these. And disadvantages is, yes, you need internet access for it, and you need to cannot have the privacy information. Frauds are more. These are the disadvantages. When we come to the MICR, we discussed that it is magnetic ink character recognition. So magnetic ink character recognition means where the special ink is used in order to code the data. Code the data in the sense that is conversion of the magnetism. By using the magnetism, the special information, that is the data, is converted into the characters and information which has to be coded. Okay, there are two types of fonts which are used, E13B and CMC7. In this you have 14, that is 10 numerical and 4 special characters, and CMC has 10 numericals and 5 special characters, that is enabled. Normally we use E13B, and in MICR we can see that we have the system of security standards which are set, where watermark, microprints, which are very important, and it contains of that block below the check contains of 31 numbers, including your account number, branch code, bank code, district code, and transaction amount, and the check serial number. All these are the information which is included in MICR. Advantages, again, it is secure, and errors are less, it is fast and accurate. Whereas disadvantages are also there, where it can recognize only numbers and characters, no alphabets, and 10 digits and 4 or 5 special characters, and then it's an expensive method. So these are the topics which we have discussed in today's class. In next class, we'll move on with the topics check truncation, which was pending today. Okay, after check truncation we have electronic clearing system, these two, and EFT. Okay, these are some of the topics which we are going to discuss in the next class. Thank you for listening.